Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the OSO Chapter Leaders Officer Training Seminar. It's a beautiful day in the Delta Kappa Gamma OSO neighborhood. We're going on an exploration to see and explore and discover information about the roles and responsibilities that the Delta Kappa Gamma OSO officers will be serving in and on different committees in their chapters. Our OSO administration officers presenters have come today to prepare and or review information with you as presidents, vice presidents, treasurers, recording secretaries, editors, and parliamentarians for the new or continuous roles as OSO chapter members. At this time, I would like to share with you who your presenters will be. They will wave to you when I say their names. Our OSO Second Vice President will be coming to you first, who is Dr. Molly Helminger. Will she wave to you at this time? Thank you. I will be coming to you as your OSO President, and I am Melody McGee. Your parliamentarian for OSO, Joyce Jones-Wynkoop, will also be sharing with you this morning. Will she wave at this time? Kathy Tenney, who is our OSO editor, will be sharing with you also today. Will she wave? Our wonderful OSO recording secretary will also share information with you, Maya Bauer. Will she wave to you at this time? Our OSO First Vice President, Michelle Meniscus, will also share with you information. Will she wave at you at this time? And then, coming to you at the end of our day, our OSO Treasurer, Diana Haskell, will also share with you today. This is our administration committee, and we will be happy to share with you information to help you throughout this next biennium. Now, without further ado, as we begin our seminar this morning, will you welcome with me Dr. Molly Helminger, who will be sharing this morning our introduction about getting together today with elite interleadership. Let us receive her this morning. Our hand doing a silent applause.
Thank you, you all. We're going to let it rock. Kathy Tenney is going to share the screen. She's going to do my PowerPoint. When I say leap, you don't have to leap. That's Kathy's cue to change the slide. All right. So first, a heartfelt thank you for stepping up to become leaders or stay leaders in your chapter. You know, there is OSO has X amount of chapters. Those chapters have members, and we cannot exist, Delta Kappa Gamma OSO, without members and without you, because you are leading your chapter. Second, I want to thank you for coming to the virtual. This is our first time doing this, so we're going to see how it goes. I'm so glad. We certainly appreciate those people that signed in via a chapter, and then you're all meeting someplace and watching it together. Kudos, great idea. Fourth, it will not, repeat, not be necessary for you to take notes. This PowerPoint presentation will be on, Kathy, the OSO website, the link, or what? Tell them what's going to happen, Kathy.
It will be on the OSO website and under the same page for chapter leadership.
Okay, thanks, Kathy, so much. We wanted to wait until after you all saw it before posting it, but that will be posted, so look for it. What I want you to do is sit back, relax, but actively listen, okay? Because
good.
there's very little on the slide. Okay, remember, everybody needs to be on mute, okay? You need to be on mute. Love that extra comment, by the way. But I want to make sure that everybody hears. Some people have trouble hearing. All right, leap. You have to live leadership. Leadership is not just some thing that exists when you are running your meetings or preparing or going to the executive board meeting. Leadership is lived. Leadership is a way of living. Okay, it's a way of living because every moment is an opportunity to build a life of leadership. You know, you don't just compartmentalize it. It exists all around you. And that's really a very different mindset than most people have. Because remember that every moment you have, whether it's leadership or not, has potential to make an impact. Have you ever thought about that? That every action you take not only impacts you, but impacts everyone else that you surround yourself with or may in the future. And then all leadership begins with self-leadership. You cannot lead others if you cannot lead yourself. And you have to lead yourself. Lead. There is a direct link, a connection between self-awareness and leadership. Now, we're going to talk about self-awareness and we're going to talk about leadership. So keep an open mind because you might have a preconceived notion of what's well, I'm self-aware or leadership. The number one thing about self-awareness is you have to embrace your uniqueness. Out of the billions of people that are living today, that lived before you and are going to be living after you, you are the only you. You are so unique, made in God's image, but unique, huge. Okay, you've got to embrace that realization because too many people don't. Too many people try to imitate somebody else or pick and choose. I'm going to be somebody different when I'm leading the group, but when I'm away from the group or when I'm away from some other people, I'm a very different person. No, you have to embrace your uniqueness. Okay? You may be humbled by it. You may be in awe of it, but be thankful for it most appropriately. 2, take candid stock of who you are, and you have to what I do and where I want to go. Okay? How am I going to live today? And how have I lived in the past as you reflect during self-reflection as part of self-awareness? How am I going to live today? How did I live before in order to create the future I want? Because if you aren't leading yourself into your own future, then you're lost, and you don't want to be lost. You want to have a very distinct vision, mission of where you want to go and where you want to leave, okay? Don't wander. You know, you have a vision for your chapter. You have a mission that is based on that vision for your chapter. You have goals that are attached to those missions and vision because they all align. And then you have objectives to accomplish your goals. We're going to talk more a little bit later on that. And then finally, you want to remember to continually evaluate. All right. And number 3, seize your leadership potential. Not just sort of reach out and sort of touch it, but seize it, grab it, embrace it. Okay. So what you are doing today, remember, will affect your future. Deep. Leadership springs from within. Do this, touch yourself. Close your eyes, and leadership comes from within. Everybody say that. You're on mute, but everybody say leadership comes from within. It springs from within. Okay, good. A leader's most compelling tool, again, over everything else, is who she is. Who she is. That, live leadership, embrace you, embrace your uniqueness. You got to know who you are. All right. Authentic leadership comes from inside. It doesn't come from outside. It comes from inside. Now, we can be educated about it. And, as you see, I've got a library here. Yes, that's real. That's super. And you guys, I've read all those books. I continue to pick some of them out to refresh my memory. On the other side of this is also books, and a lot of them about leadership, a lot of them in spirituality, a lot of them with spiritual leadership. So because that's part of who I am, I can't separate that piece out. Okay, so remember, you have to be anchored. Since you are the leader, you've got to anchor your leadership with your principles, goals, values, and principles. All right, leap. Becoming a leader is an ongoing process. Have you noticed the titles are always really, if you want to try to remember things after, feel free, look at that leadership, leap into leadership later. The title really capsulizes everything within it. So a leader is ongoing process of self-awareness and learning, because you really can't be self-aware unless you're learning. And I know we all are lifelong learners. We all are. So remember, personal leadership starts with you and never finishes until you're finished. Not as a chapter leader, but as you're hopefully headed towards heaven. You've got to cultivate. You have to cultivate a reflection and understanding. For me, with my high energy, and we are all busy. We won't go there very long. We're all busy. I consult, and I'm super busy with professional and personal things. And you know what? Though I spend a portion of my beginning of my day and the end of my day in spiritual scripture, and it causes me to reflect and apply what I'm doing in my life. And then I think back of what I could have done, and that could have handled something differently, but cultivate the habit of self-reflection and self-understanding. And I know we have a lot of static in our lives. We have a lot of busyness in our lives, but we have to carve out time. You decide how much time to cultivate that habit of self-reflection and self-understanding. Okay. Think of your soul as a garden. I love Melody's, theme if you're reading The Voice, hopefully you are The Voice, she talks a lot. She does analogy of a garden. I often think of myself, the garden of my soul is a garden, and it has to be continually tilled, the soil, meaning who I am, what I'm doing, nurtured, gotta nurture it, gotta stay aware of myself, I can't take care of others, I'm not taking care of myself. I gotta pull those weeds, okay, gotta pull those weeds, things that are not going well, that could really, really derail me. And then as I do all that, till, fertilize, plant, nurture, weed out, it's going to help grow a beautiful soul. Part of that is you got to dig deep. Getting self-reflection is not, oh, okay, I'll take 5 minutes and let me reflect. Okay, that was good. No. It takes digging deeply into who you are, what you're doing, where you want to go. Okay? You can't tiptoe. Gotta leap. Big leap. Discover and explore new uncharted territories. We're either growing forward, or we're going backwards. and eventually don't even exist. So you have got to remember to keep going. Okay, you got to remember to watch for potholes, detours, other things that can cause us to go off the rails, because it is so easy to go off the rails. Life is unpredictable. It is. It's just unpredictable. But that doesn't mean that we can't be continually making ourselves self-aware, can keep our learning up so that we can be able to adapt or change. All right? You got to learn to recalibrate. Beep. You know, this is a huge slide. I hope all of them are huge, but this one is a major one, you guys. Leadership mindset. You know, when you're just thinking about leadership beyond self-awareness, whatever, you have to look through the lens of a bird's eye view, like you're an eagle or butterfly, whatever. But, you know, I prefer eagle because you're way up there, and a worm's eye view. That means a bird's eye view is you're seeing from a wide perspectives, okay? Whether you're looking at it as a chapter member, etc. But, you know, the more global, but also wide, expand your boundaries. You got to expand beyond your boundaries, what you normally do when you are making decisions, whatever, and look at that bird's eye view and understand the big picture. Got to understand the big picture. Many people will get caught up in the worm's eye view and they're missing the big picture. Okay. You got to do both. So the worm's eye view is just the reverse. You narrow your perspective instead of wide. You narrow it. You really focus it. You restrict those boundaries. You're really looking within the boundaries that you're viewing and trying to focus on that. And then you're understanding the individual pieces. You know, you're understanding those objectives. You're understanding what you are evaluating. Vision, mission, what you're trying to accomplish in general. I don't like in general, but that is the bird's eye view, the worm's eye view. You have to remember both as a leader. Leap. Leaders' key responsibilities. You know, nobody wants to be around somebody who's a Debbie Downer. If you ever watch Saturday Night Live. No, you have to energize and inspire. Now, your energy may take a different look than mine, because remember, we're all unique. There's only one you and there's only one me. Thank goodness, probably. But you have to energize and inspire. You have got to, by doing that, how do you do that? You have to harness the talents, talents, strengths, and interests of your chapter members as individuals, not just as a chapter, but as an individual chapter member. You need to be able to know what are their talents, what are their strengths, what are their interests, and align them with what you are trying to accomplish as a chapter with your vision, mission, goals, objectives. Okay? Because the reality is, you guys, every one of us wants to feel important. Every one of us wants to be significant. Nobody wants to be put in a corner and ignored. And oftentimes, even though we don't literally do that, but through our actions as a leader, if we're not careful, that's basically what we're doing. Okay? So remember to do that. Establish focused direction. Remember, you have those visions and missions, etc. You want to make sure that you are focused as an eagle, as well as a worm, on where you're going. Okay? You got to align, and to do that, you got to align resources. And of course, those are people, your capital, and the other resources that you have available to maximize progress, okay, and achieve success on how you define it and how your chapter is defining it. Leap. Leadership capacities, really a huge thing with me when I do a lot of presentations and when I work with boards, when I work with administrators. You have to develop leadership capacity. It's not just about you. It's about how you're utilizing the people around you to help raise the organization, to help raise the chapter, Okay. So how do I do that? I'm not waiting for some grand moment. I'm not waiting for a target specific date. Those could be there, great, more power to you. But it's the everyday opportunities. It's the everyday opportunities. Too many of us are too busy. Too many of us are too busy, caught up in the messiness of, or the anxiety of what we're doing, that we miss opportunities. Opportunities abound all around us. Opportunities abound all around us all the time.
Yeah.
Make sure you're mute, gang. Make sure you're mute. Make sure
I'm like, how many
opportunities are positive, neutral, or negative. Okay, so they all present themselves, and oftentimes, sometimes you have to grab the negative in order to move your organization forward. Somebody's complaining, somebody is really creating discord in your chat, somebody is really backstabbing you. You've got to be able to deal with that. You can't ignore it, but you really want to also be aware of the positive. Okay,
these balloons in like a palace somewhere. And as they come in, they have to go find a balloon. Don't do anything with it. Just find the balloon.
Nancy Schuster, you need to mute yourself.
Oh, thank you so much. I will.
Thanks, Nance. Okay.
So sorry.
That's okay. Been there, done that.
Just keep talking everything you were saying.
Thank you. Okay, thanks. Okay, number 2, challenges, crises, and other setbacks. Don't shy away from them because they're going to happen. They are going to happen. So they will help develop you guys. It was through adversity, the challenges that I faced, that I really have grown as a leader and continue to grow because of what I do as a consultant. I'm dealing with very serious districts that are this close to being taken over by the state departments of education. And so I come in and I help identify things. And guess what? Those people are in crisis mode. They have huge challenges. And so maybe your chapter is in a crisis mode. I know when we were looking for officers, Kathy Tenney and I are in the same office, we said, and the current officer said, you better step up because you know what? We've been doing this for 10 years plus, whatever. It's time for other people to step up. We ask you every 2 years, you don't do it. But you know what? Our chapter is going to dissolve if you don't step up. Come on, there's 67 of you. Get up there. Come on. All right. So, that builds leadership capacity, meaning, you're not building just yourself, but you're building others around you to become leaders and to lead themselves better. Okay. Always lead themselves. You're not leading them by the note. Okay. Adversity leads to change, which is necessary. Okay. So don't shy away from it. Leap. These next couple of slides, these next 1, 2, 3, 8 slides, we're going to be talking about. So if you want to make sure to capture something, be sure to capture these words. Okay. Leap of faith, listen, embrace, evaluate, attitude, adaptability, prayerful and proactive, and people. All right, leap. Let's look at leap of faith. I cannot say, you cannot separate who you are from how you're going to lead. You can't. It's impossible. It's just impossible. It goes way beyond authentic leadership. Spirituality is a huge part of my life. God is a huge part of my life. I grew up in a very religious family. I have a brother that has passed away, but he was a priest. I have a sister who is still living. She's a nun. And guess what? It is a huge part of my life. So it's what I am. If that's what you do, super too, because I could not do what I do without his graces. Life, with a leap of faith, life is fluid. Life is fluid. It is not static. It does not just flow. There's a lot of whitewater rafting. There is Golden Pond. There's just calm rivers, and sometimes it rains really hard and there's really torrential floods, but life is not static. You have to develop dynamic relationships with the people around you. Relationships, dynamic relationships. That means not just, hi, good to see you. Let me shake your hand at the meeting. Let me work the room. I know how to work a room, but you know what? It's way beyond that as a chapter leader. You have to develop relationships. Remember, people are your greatest asset, but they're your worst liability as well. Okay, they're your greatest asset. They're also your greatest liability. And you know what I'm talking about. All right. More on people in the future in a coming slide. Recognize that time is a priority. Time is a priority. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days. All of us have that. All the billions around us have that. It is what we do with those that is critical. Okay. You may have your chapter meet once a month. Well, you know what? Maximize that time. So make it resonate with people. You have to make it relevant. Leap. Listen. Oh, listen to the well of wisdom deep within you. You know, when you really go deep, remember that dig deep, comment I made before? That's where wisdom occurs. That's where you will find your wisdom that you can continue to build. Okay. Wisdom occurs because of experiences. Remember the everyday opportunities? They occur because of those everyday opportunities. Got to dig deep. All right. Make sure you are consciously aligned with your beliefs and your principles. Remember, those are non-negotiable. I can negotiate a lot and have in my life to a certain degree, but there are certain things that are non-negotiable. My beliefs, my principle, my God is not non-negotiable. Okay. Passion. You have to be passionate about leadership. I know I am. I bet a lot of you are. Most of you are. You've got to, when you're passionate, you put your ear to your heart and listen. Think about it. If you think about your leadership, put your ear to your heart and listen. Leap. Embrace. Oh, I love this slide. I love all my slides, but embrace. Each leader will have a unique leadership style. We've talked about that, okay? If you were a book, what would your title be? Not about leadership, just you. You know, it's like, let me see, let me grab one, okay? What would it be? What would the chapters be titled? And what would the content be within those chapters? That is a powerful thing to think about. Think about it. That's a powerful thing. What's your book title? What's your chapter titles? And what's inside each chapter? How you do that is you have to calibrate an inner compass, which to navigate your life, to navigate everything else, because your life is lived leadership. All right. You got to, when you ignite and energize people, you're also igniting yourself, right? Okay. You have to engage everyone. I've talked about that. Don't leave anybody behind. Don't exclude anybody. Some people have to be asked. Some people have to be repeatedly asked in a nice way over a span of time, but you can do it. All right. Engaging others, everyone, you'll build that leadership capacity that we so desperately need. All right. All right. Leap. Evaluate. This plays a big part of my consulting. I evaluate a lot. I have a doctorate in statistics. I have a master's in counseling. So I do the ooey gooey and I do the detailed data hard stuff, quantitative more mostly, but I utilize both. You don't have to have a doctorate. You don't have to have a master's, because of our lived experiences and our lived leadership. We know how to do the qualitative. Qualitative, there's no data per se. You're looking, you're observing, you're recording, that kind of thing. Quantitative is looking at that hard data. How many members do you have? How many new members have we got? How many do we retain? How many do we lose? All of that. You got to constantly do that. Okay. You have to take action once you evaluate. Continually do it. Okay, Kath, leap. Oh, everything. I could do days. I could do a whole week on attitude, you guys. And I have done a whole day. But attitude. It's everything. It's everything in terms of when you're building those relationships, when you're trying to establish leadership capacity, when you're trying to nurture it, because attitudes are contagious. Think about it. Attitudes are contagious. They compound when exposed to other attitudes. Okay. I think we all know the positive people. We're looking for those positive attitudes to lift people up. Positive attitudes lift. It creates positive energy and it excites. It moves. There's a forward momentum, a great forward momentum. The more positive energy, the more forward momentum gained and progress made. It can be like a whirlwind, a great whirlwind. It just carries us away and moves us forward into where our mission and vision can be found. Negative attitudes, negative attitudes, they crush, they tear down, they halt progress. They not only tear down, but they replace what you're trying to build in terms of your leadership. Okay? So they're like a tornado that just destroys. And then you have a little bit left, unfortunately, and then you have to rebuild. But that rebuilding is even harder, isn't it? It's not clear ground. So remember, deal with the negative attitudes. Keep alert of the culture you are establishing. Think about it. The positive, the negative, and there is a neutral, okay? It's not always black and white. It's not stark, it's gray. But remember, your culture of leadership, the way your chapter meetings are run, the way your chapter is making progress or not making progress is a reflection on your leadership when you take over those roles, those ones that are currently already and those that are coming forward. Keep that in mind. Hey, Kath, adaptability. You just got to be able to be you can't just be you. You have to embrace that uniqueness. But remember the self-understanding, self-awareness, reflection. You've got to be aware as you are able to adapt. Flexibility and being multifaceted are the keys. Okay. Adaptability means being able to go in there, have a kaleidoscope of methods, ways of approaching something. Okay. Think of kaleidoscope. All right. Stay open to the alternative pathways. There's not just a single path. There isn't a single path. Just like there isn't a single path to heaven, and there's not a single path to hell. There are multiple ways to get to either of those. And, we have to live that leadership. There's endless pivot points. Okay, Kathy, leap. People, it's all about the people. You are not leading sheep. This is not 4-H. I was in 4-H. But you're not leading, you're not raising cattle. You're not going to show chickens. You're not going to do the rabbits. People. It's all about people. You have to let people know who you are as a person, not just who you are as a leader, or that, there's Dr. Helmlinger, and oh my God, she has this stream of degrees, and oh my man, oh God, blah, 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 blah. No, they need to know you as a leader. Often people say, she's really religious. We got to be careful. Too bad. Didn't do that during board meetings, but yes. Who are you? Then you flip it. And as you're looking at your chapter members and you're looking at those talents and strengths and interests that everyone has that is different to them, then you can embrace that to lift your organization up. Okay. So remember, you are a leader, but you are who you are. Positive relationships are forged. They're not formed. They're forged. They're forged through experiences, both positive and negative. I'm closer to some people because we've gone through hell together. And they had my back, and they had my side, and they had my front. And they helped me traverse and navigate those areas. Do the same with yours. Leadership is not lonely. Leadership and being a leader is not isolating. It isn't if approached in the right way. Okay? Remember that people add, subtract, multiply, or divide in your life. What do you want? Add and multiply. You do not want to surround yourself with people that are subtracting and dividing. No, keep that in mind. How do you lead? Align the right people at the right time in the right spots. Okay? Alignment. People, position, and time, spots. P, prayerful and proactive. You know, I don't do anything without discernment. I don't. I will share with you early on in my life, I didn't. Even though I was raised very religiously and prayerful, I had it isolated in a box. Oh, we're gonna do the rosary tonight. Oh, here comes church, and I've got to make sure I kneel at the right time and do well, la 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 la. Prayerful throughout my life, throughout my I've really grown as a prayer warrior for others and for myself. And so that's a big part of my life. When I'm making decisions, notice I didn't say big decision. When I'm making decisions, I am quieting myself and centering myself so that I can make prayerful decisions. Okay. Important decisions, super important decisions. There are levels. Takes a lot of discernment and reflection. The harder the situation, the more reflection and discernment has to be there. Okay. Because, and notice my tone of voice. You know, when I think about God, I have to know and go to that sacred spot where I will find and where I know God is. God is always all around us, but I will find him for me within my soul in that sacred quiet spot. The trajectory of your life is hidden in your daily routines and habits. So are you proactive or reactive? Proactive or reactive? You're one of the two. As a leader, what do you need to be? Proactive. Now, if you're not proactive and you have to be reactive, then you need to do some of the things we've talked about. All right. But the trajectory of your life and your chapter in the right direction and going high and doing new heights of greater glory will be found in your daily routine. Your daily routine. All right. Remember that it's not just what we do, but what we fail to do that is also critical in leadership. Think about that now. Being proactive, but it is what we do and not choose to do that can truly impact us and our chapter and everything else around us. Keep that in mind. Remember that there is always going to be times that you get flustered, that you get upset, that you get angry, those not negative emotions, they're just emotions. Try not to expose others to those ones that can really affect your organization. Okay. All right. So Kathy, show me the last slide. Do you remember the one leap of faith? There was only one person. Now we're all together leaping. And there we go. How did I do on